Happy Tuesday, everybody. Just so you guys are aware, a couple guys won't be out there today. J.J. Russell, concussion, 14 concussion, 98 is the knee, 80 with the quad, and 59 with a thumb. But all those guys are doing a good job. The guys there that haven't been out there for the majority of camp, they're all doing well too. I'm taking it one day at a time with those guys. Just so it gives you a little bit of an update there. What do you guys got?
Yeah, on 18.
He'll be out there today. Thought you would have inferred when I said no 18. Love you, dude.
With Justin, is it just something you're trying to be careful with right now?
Yeah.
What changes this week as far as the process gearing up for a game on Saturday?
You know, that's a really good question, Bo. Not much. To me, I told him last night, this is still training camp. You know what I mean? So we're going to go at it. We're going to compete this week. We're going to load them up with the proper amount of volume, as it, compared to the first couple weeks there, first 3 blocks. We need to keep upping our volume. And we're gonna keep doing what we've been doing, sticking to our process.
Does it make it a little easier having numbers for these games that you're able to do that in practice and still not worry about what happens in the games?
No, I think because if you actually look like depending on how many games, we always take everything based off like 65 plays in a game kind of deal. But you look at the volume throughout a week, 3 days of practice, a walkthrough, and a game. We need to keep increasing to even get near that. And we get around 90%, I want to say, off the top of my head, before we play week 1. So we're in training camp and we're increasing our reps, everybody, 1s, 2s, and 3s.
Is there a point this week where you tell guys what their expected workload will be on Saturday?
I told them last night they're going to play.
The starters are going to play?
Yeah.
What made you decide to change that up this year?
As opposed to 2 years this year?
As opposed to last year?
Yeah, I think it's the best thing for our team this year, honestly. Teo, I think we're at a good point with our health. We're at a good point with our development. And I think that's, this year with our team, it's the best thing to do for our guys.
When it comes to Kansas City, they play a lot of their starters, a little bit more than most teams. How valuable was that for your defense to get a look at it legit?
Yeah, I haven't talked to Andy if they're going to play him or not. I know, what he's done in the past, but honestly, not too concerned. I'm more concerned with us, preseason 1.
I assume starters, that includes Kyler will play?
Yeah.
Do you have a snap count, a quarter, anything like that yet?
We got a plan, but that won't get etched into stone until these next 3 days happen. Just because you don't know what's going to happen these 3 days. The health of your team goes into that too. But got kind of a plan in mind. But that can change too mid-game, honestly. So I feel good about it, though.
What are the things that you're assessing, especially with the starters in a preseason game, that might be different than a training camp setting or even a joint practice setting?
Well, it's live. So I do think that's the best form of evaluation, the best form of learning. Where growth can take place. But I want to see us operate, make sure that we're doing the right things. And again, we're not game planning, we're not going to game plan Kansas City or Denver or Vegas. So it's really kind of about us, and make sure that we're learning from those reps, everybody, not just the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s as well.
Matt Wilson's taken over the Green Dot. We've heard a lot of good things about him handling that. From the mental side of it, what goes into having to receive the call related to the defense and still having the coaching ear until 15 seconds left?
Yeah, in the huddle, a lot of guys, you can, 2 ways to go about it, but a lot of guys can tune out certain things because it doesn't relate to them. So maybe it'd be the front. Once they hear the front, they really don't care about the coverage, certain calls, they got to hear the whole call. Honestly, I think it's really just mastery of the calls and the system and the checks and the cans and the alerts. So, but he's done a really good job with it, Donnie. He like I said, and that was where I really had my eye on during OTAs after the first couple of practices, I'm like, what are we worrying about? You know, he's fine. And he's continued to get better throughout training camp. I know the D-line got after him, I think, day 2, and we haven't really had a hiccup, you know, since then. So, but like any game or like anything, like there'll be some mistakes in there, but he's doing a good job with it. He really is.
When it comes to a guy like David, how valuable is it to have a guy that can handle so many different spots on the field, not just physically, but mentally as well?
Yeah, big time. We got other guys, not just Zaven, too, you know. I always say, like, let's make sure we're putting those guys in positions where they can be successful. But it also, you got to weigh as it relates to other people, too, around them, you know. So it's, you know, you gotta kind of fit the pieces to the puzzle when it comes to that stuff. But he's a valuable piece for us, there's no doubt, because he can do a lot of things and he's smart enough to handle it. So, but we use other guys in that similar role as well.
Will had a nice interception on Saturday. He's been running with the ones.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to see from him specifically Saturday in his first game?
Technique consistency.
Why do you think some guys show up, whether it's in pads compared to shorts or on game days compared to practices?
Probably their brain. Performance psych.
During practices, we see you kind of walking around a lot, different position groups and stuff. When you're in a practice, especially when there's 90 guys here, how do you decide what you want to get your eyes on during a given day?
Typically gut. But sometimes I know, that's a good question, Teo. Sometimes I know what the drills are going to be, what it's coinciding with, you know, with what's going in that day or corrections that are being made. That, you know, the coordinators and the position coaches, myself, we sat down and said, hey, these guys got to do this better. We need to drill it differently or find another drill for this or whatever the case may be so we can get this combo double team block better. Let's drill it differently. And I'll typically have my eyes on those things just to see the response from the players, honestly. So that's a good question. But a lot of times my instinct, you know, or what I want to watch that day, honestly.
Do you ever get the sense when you're over watching whatever particular group that any of them notice you're there? Like, is there ever a situation where it's like, oh,
I had a guy
boss?
that I used to work for, a guy that says you would think that he was mad at me one time because he didn't think my tempo was high enough when he came and watched. And he said you would think that when the head coach walked over there, position coaches, you'd pick up your tempo when you're coaching your drills. That always was ingrained in my head. No, I'm not. Those guys, the coaches, know I completely trust what they're doing. None of them are looking over their shoulder. I'm honestly watching the players, you know.
Connor talked a lot about Trey Benson playing a lot this year. Just what have you seen so far in his development, and what makes you believe that he can add more to his workload?
He's doing a good job. He is just his understanding of everything that he's doing. That Autry's teaching. Autry's doing a really good job with all those guys. But you know, everything from his tracks to his vision to his pad level to the timing of the play. That's helping him. You know, we haven't tackled yet, but helping him look like he's a step ahead of last year. And I think a really big piece, what he's done a good job, is protections. You know, because, you know, that's a hard thing for some guys at times. And that can, you know, help increase your role if we feel confident that you can do the right thing and not just mentally get on the right people, but physically, you know, block the right people. So I think he's doing a really good job with that.
Both James and Trey have said the line, we have 2 RB1s this year. Has that been the message from the coaching staff to those 2 guys?
Not from me. It's compete for your role, you know what I mean? But I think probably what they're alluding to is both of those guys is they both want to play and they think they both can impact the game in a positive way, and I agree with them.
When you tell the guys last night that the starters are playing, did you sense any kind of reaction from anyone?
Yeah, they wish it was today. And then we had the rookie show, so it went from serious to not so serious.
Anybody shine in the rookie show? Anybody?
Yeah. Will Johnson did a good job. Oscar and Bryson did a good job. Elijah Simmons did a good job. And the O-line did a pretty good job.
Did Elijah sing?
He sang. And then, like, it was so good, he got a standing ovation, and then he was about to sit down, and they said, get back up there and keep singing. So it was good. We had some dessert food trucks out there, a little bit of a take a breath before this week because they know it's serious and we got to be locked in now.
With so much going on in training camp, obviously you said the first preseason game coming up. How important are those moments for you guys?
Yeah, I think, the best teams care about each other. I think that's just a way for those guys to have a little bit of fun, razz each other a little bit. But, Josh Marin, our player programs guy, he does a good job. We know the vets take that to heart. They want to see him do a good job with that. If you're a Cardinal here, I tell those guys, make sure you do a good job with that because you're not going to get hazed. We don't do that. You're not going to do, you might have to buy a dinner here and there. But that's kind of rite of passage, I guess, I had to do it as a new coach way back when for Munch. We don't do that anymore. I don't even know what Debo would sing.
What did you say?
I forget. I don't want to tell you guys.
Coach, thanks.
It was probably good. It was probably good.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
A little